Once upon a time, in a village nestled between rolling hills and vast plains, there lived a girl named Amina. She was no ordinary girl. She had been adopted by one of the wealthiest families in the land, the Okojie family. They lived in a grand house with beautiful gardens, servants at their beck and call, and the finest clothes and food anyone could imagine. From the outside, Amina's life seemed perfect. But inside, Amina carried a secret weight on her heart. She had grown up with all the riches she could ever dream of, yet there was always a deep emptiness she couldn't explain. She never quite felt like she belonged in that grand house, surrounded by wealth and luxury. The other children in the village often reminded her that she was different, that she wasn't like them, and sometimes, those words stung more than she would admit. Still, her adoptive parents, Chief Okojie and his wife, Mama Zuri, showered her with love. They always told her, "You are our blessing, Amina. Your heart is pure, and that is what makes you truly special." No matter how much she doubted herself, their words gave her comfort. But as Amina grew older, the feeling of being out of place only became stronger. She would spend long hours gazing out over the land from her bedroom window, watching the sun set over the fields. In those moments, she wondered about her real parents and whether they had ever thought of her. As time passed, Amina came of age, and the Okojie family began to think about her future, as all good parents do. One day, over a grand dinner filled with laughter and music, Chief Okojie turned to Amina with a smile. "Amina, my daughter, it is time to think about your marriage. You are the pride of our family, and the whole village has watched you grow into a beautiful young woman," he said. Mama Zuri added, "We have already found a match for you, a man of great wealth and status. He will make you very happy." Amina smiled, though her heart was heavy. Marriage? She had never thought of it before. Was this her future, marrying someone she didn't know, someone chosen for her by others? The thought of it made her stomach twist. Her parents, however, were firm in their belief that they were doing what was best for her. They promised her a life of comfort, filled with luxury and security. But deep down, Amina felt a nagging question in her heart: is this really what I want? As her parents continued discussing the marriage plans, Amina sat in silence, lost in her thoughts. What if her heart longed for something more than what they had in mind for her? Thus, the story of Amina's journey was about to take a turn, one that would challenge everything she thought she knew about love, family, and belonging. The winds of change were coming, and Amina's heart was about to lead her down a path she never expected. The days passed, and the topic of Amina's marriage grew more urgent in the Okojie household. Her parents, Chief Okojie and Mama Zuri, had made up their minds. They had chosen a suitor for Amina, a rich and powerful man named Olumide, the son of a neighboring chief. He was tall, handsome, and well-respected in the village, with a wealth of cattle and land that could secure Amina's future beyond her wildest dreams. To Amina's parents, this match seemed perfect. They believed that Olumide would be able to offer Amina everything she could ever need: luxury, status, and security. They saw no reason why Amina would not be happy with such a union. After all, she was a daughter of wealth, and her marriage should reflect her status. But Amina's heart sank each time they spoke of Olumide. She didn't love him. How could she? His charms were superficial to her, his words hollow. All she could think of was Kwame, a young man who lived in the humble part of the village. Kwame had always been different. Despite his modest background, he was kind, hardworking, and honest, a man of integrity who lived with respect for others. He was the one who had always made Amina's heart flutter, not Olumide. Kwame had grown up alongside Amina, and their bond had been formed over years of shared moments, laughter, and deep conversations. Though his family had little, his spirit was rich with sincerity. Amina could not imagine her life with anyone else, but she was too scared to voice her true feelings. She feared her adoptive parents would never understand. The pressure from them, and from the village, was immense. The community, too, played its part. Whispers filled the air wherever Amina went. The villagers spoke of her future marriage, believing that she had been blessed with wealth and should marry someone of equal standing. They would shake their heads and say things like, "Amina is from a good family. She deserves a man who can give her the world. Marrying someone poor will only bring her trouble." Amina heard these words echo in her mind each day. They planted seeds of doubt, and soon, the voices of the village became louder than the whispers of her own heart. Her parents, too, were influenced by the pressure, seeing only what they thought was best for her future. Amina, her mother said one evening, "Olumide is a good man. You must understand, this is for your own good. A marriage like this will bring honor to our name and ensure your happiness." But how could Amina explain that her happiness did not lie in riches or status? How could she make her parents understand that her heart had already chosen Kwame, despite his humble circumstances? As the day of the arranged marriage drew near, Amina's heart grew heavy with despair. She felt trapped in a life that wasn't hers, pulled between her love for Kwame and the expectations of her family and society. The conflict within her deepened with each passing day, and she began to question whether she would ever find the courage to follow her heart. Little did she know, the path ahead would not be so simple. Her choices would soon lead her to confront not only her adoptive family's wishes but the very beliefs that the village held about love, marriage, and what truly matters in life. As the days drifted by, the weight of Amina's internal struggle grew heavier. Every time she passed the grand mirror in her room, she saw a reflection of a girl who should have been happy, dressed in beautiful fabrics, with a life ahead of her filled with comfort and prestige. Yet, in her heart, Amina knew she was far from happy. Her mind and heart were at war with one another. Amina's thoughts were consumed by Kwame, whose kindness and sincerity had captured her heart from the very beginning. He had never cared for her wealth or status. He loved her for who she was, pure, kind, and thoughtful. But how could she marry him? The pressure to conform, to live up to the expectations of her family and the village, weighed heavily on her. Her adoptive parents had raised her with so much love, but their idea of her future felt like a cage she could not escape. One evening, after a long day of preparation for her upcoming wedding, Amina finally found the courage to speak up. Her parents sat together by the fire, discussing the wedding plans, excitedly making arrangements for the future. "Mama, Papa," Amina began, her voice trembling as she stood in front of them. "I need to talk to you about the wedding." Chief Okojie looked up from his work and smiled warmly. "What is it, my daughter? Are you nervous about the ceremony? Do not worry, everything is prepared. Olumide will be a good husband to you." But Amina's heart raced, and she could no longer keep the truth locked inside. "I don't love Olumide, Papa. I don't want to marry him." Her parents' faces froze in shock. Mama Zuri blinked in disbelief. "What do you mean, Amina? Olumide is a fine man. He has everything you need, a good home, wealth, respect. This is the best thing for you." "I know, Mama," Amina whispered, struggling to find the right words. "But my heart belongs to someone else. To Kwame. He is a kind man, a man who sees me for who I truly am. I love him." The room fell silent. The flames crackled in the hearth, and for a moment, Amina could feel the tension thick in the air. Chief Okojie set down his cup, and Mama Zuri's face twisted in confusion. "Kwame?" Chief Okojie's voice was stern. "He is poor, Amina. You cannot possibly marry someone like him. He has nothing to offer you but hardship. He is not the man you deserve." "But he has something far more important than wealth," Amina protested, her voice shaking. "He has a good heart. He would never hurt me. Please, Mama, Papa, I want to marry him." Her words fell on deaf ears. Her adoptive parents were firm in their belief that she could never marry someone of Kwame's status. They were determined to secure her future, even if it meant disregarding her happiness. They had given Amina everything, wealth, comfort, and status, but to them, her emotions, her love, did not matter. "We have chosen what is best for you, Amina," Mama Zuri said, her voice softer but resolute. "Olumide is a good man. You will learn to love him. Marry him, and everything will fall into place. You will not have to worry about anything. We only want the best for you." Amina's heart shattered. She could not understand how her parents could dismiss her feelings so easily. How could they ask her to ignore the very thing that made her feel alive? How could they expect her to marry someone who did not stir her soul, someone she barely knew? The next day, as Amina walked through the village, she could hear the murmurs and whispers of the people around her. The village was abuzz with talk of her marriage. The elders, the women, and even the children all spoke of her arranged marriage to Olumide. They praised her adoptive parents for making such a wise decision, calling it a marriage of honor. "Amina is so fortunate," one woman said, "to marry into such a rich family. She will never have to struggle. She deserves a man of wealth," another added. What would she want with someone like Kwame? Amina's heart sank with every word. The villagers had no idea who she truly was, who she truly loved. To them, she was nothing more than a pawn in a game of status and wealth. She felt trapped by the weight of their expectations, trapped by her parents' choices, and most of all, trapped by her own heart. That night, as she lay in her bed, Amina stared up at the ceiling, tears slowly slipping down her face. She felt torn in every direction, caught between duty and love. She loved her parents, but how could she betray herself to make them happy? And she loved Kwame, but the village, her family, and the world around her seemed determined to keep them apart. In that moment, Amina realized that the path ahead was not an easy one. She would have to make a choice, one that would shape her future. But which path would lead to her true happiness? As Amina struggled with her heartache, a shocking truth began to surface about Olumide, the wealthy man her parents had chosen for her. It was revealed that beneath his charming exterior, Olumide was not the noble, kind man he appeared to be. Whispers spread through the village that Olumide had been involved in deceitful business practices and had mistreated those less fortunate. His wealth, it seemed, had come at the expense of others. He was manipulative, using his status and charm to get what he wanted, and marriage to Amina was no exception. His interest in her wasn't born from love, but from a desire to solidify his position and gain even more power. Meanwhile, Kwame, despite his humble background, proved to be everything Olumide was not. He was a man of integrity, honor, and deep respect for Amina. While Olumide saw Amina as a prize to be won, Kwame saw her as an equal, someone he cherished with all his heart. He stood by her side during difficult times, offering support, wisdom, and love. He never tried to impress her with wealth, for he knew that true companionship was built on trust and respect. His genuine care for her became a stark contrast to the manipulative nature of Olumide. In the face of this discovery, Amina began to see the truth: true love wasn't about wealth or status, but about the heart. And the man who had always treated her with respect, despite having nothing, was the one who truly deserved her love. With the truth about Olumide now clear, Amina knew she could no longer stay silent. Her heart had always known where it belonged, and now her mind had caught up. For too long, she had lived in fear of disappointing her adoptive parents, of going against the village's expectations. But she had seen the difference between a man who wanted to possess her and one who truly valued her. One morning, with the sun rising over the village, Amina gathered her courage. She stood before Chief Okojie and Mama Zuri, her voice steady but filled with emotion. "I am grateful for everything you've given me," she said, "but I cannot marry Olumide. My heart belongs to Kwame, and I will not betray it." Her words struck like thunder. Chief Okojie's face tightened with disbelief, while Mama Zuri looked on in sorrow. "You would throw away a life of comfort for a man with nothing?" her father asked. "I would rather live in a small hut filled with love," Amina replied, "than in a palace where I am not seen or heard." The news of her decision spread quickly through the village. Some called her foolish, saying she had insulted her family's name. Others admired her bravery, whispering that perhaps, for once, love had won over pride. The village became divided, between tradition and choice, between status and sincerity. Through it all, Kwame stood beside her. He never tried to speak for her or persuade others, he simply remained present, strong, and respectful. His quiet support gave Amina strength. In his eyes, she saw the future she truly wanted, not easy, but real. In choosing love over wealth, Amina had done more than just make a personal decision, she had challenged the very beliefs her world was built upon. And though the path ahead would not be simple, she walked it with her head high and her heart at peace. As the days passed, Amina and Kwame's love only grew stronger. Despite the challenges they faced, their bond remained unbreakable. They built a simple life together, one that was filled with joy, respect, and mutual care. Though their home was humble, it was rich in love, a love that neither wealth nor status could ever buy. The village, at first divided in its judgment, slowly began to see the truth of their union. Amina and Kwame's relationship became a symbol of authenticity in a world where appearances often mattered more than the heart. As time went on, their story spread beyond the village. People from surrounding communities came to hear about the young couple who had chosen love over money, and how their decision had reshaped the way the village viewed relationships. Amina and Kwame's love became a legend, a tale told from one generation to the next, reminding everyone that true happiness is not measured by wealth, but by the strength of the connections we make and the sincerity of our hearts. Chief Okojie and Mama Zuri, though initially angry and disappointed by Amina's choice, began to see the beauty in her decision. They watched as Amina and Kwame lived with an honesty and integrity that no amount of money could provide. Over time, their hearts softened. Chief Okojie, with his pride, began to understand that no amount of wealth could buy the kind of peace and happiness his daughter had found. Mama Zuri, who had once dreamed of Amina's marriage to a rich man, realized that true love brought a depth of joy she had never imagined. One evening, as the sun set over the hills, Chief Okojie and Mama Zuri stood together, watching their daughter and her beloved Kwame. They looked at each other, their hearts filled with both pride and regret. Finally, Chief Okojie turned to Mama Zuri and said, "Perhaps the greatest gift we could have given her was the freedom to choose her own path. Amina has found something far more valuable than gold." Mama Zuri nodded, tears in her eyes. Love, true love, is the most precious thing we can ever give or receive. I see that now. And so, Amina and Kwame's love not only transformed their own lives, but also changed the hearts of those around them. The village, once focused on material wealth, began to value love, respect, and integrity above all else. Amina's courage had shown them that happiness was not a gift to be bought, it was something that grew from within, nurtured by the strength of love and the freedom to follow one's heart. From that day forward, the legend of Amina and Kwame lived on, inspiring others to follow their hearts, no matter the cost. And Amina, now fully at peace with her choice, lived her life knowing that love had, indeed, conquered all.